Can you remember how your new album, Starlight, what triggered it? When did you want to write this new album?
Well, I actually, in 2003, I made a CD called Lovers Speak, and it's got a. I play everything on it in the way that I've played on this and Into the Blues, This Charming Life, and this one, but it's got an acoustic sound into it. It's not an acoustic album, but it's acoustic sounding. And I thought when I was doing that, it'd be really nice to have a theme. So I decided to do this trilogy of blues, rock, and jazz. And so that's what I did. So in 2007, I made Into the Blues. So all the songs were just blues-influenced songs that I wrote. Then This Charming Life in 2010, all kind of rock sounding songs, and then now this one, Starlight, jazz flavored. So I had this thing that I wanted to do, and when you made up your mind to do certain things, you kind of fall into it. You know, it's kind of, I've just repeated myself from something I just said just now, but it's kind of like if you decide that you're going on a really long journey, or you're going to tour lots and lots of countries, and you think, okay, I'll do that, and I'll do that in May, and you've made that decision in January, you start preparing yourself, don't you? You start to kind of pack and buy all the things and get the rucksack and all the things that you're going to do. And then come May, you're there, aren't you? You're ready for it, and then you make the journey and you're into it. And it's exactly the same as this. I'd made up my mind that this was what I was going to do, and I'd kind of prepared myself.
In what
and
way?
Then, well, just by kind of mentally prepare myself, you know. And I didn't, in all cases, I didn't listen to lots of music, because that's not what I do anyway. But I didn't get a whole load of blues stuff or a whole load of rock or jazz stuff, because you know, music is there. I know what they sound like. So just kind of mentally prepare yourself, and kind of almost start to write things in your head, and then you start the journey. And then when you're on the journey, you just get into it, don't you? You just start to kind of live it and be it. Yeah.
Why the combination of those three, jazz, blues, and rock?
There's a joke that I tell, and this woman is standing by the traffic light, and as she's standing there waiting to cross the road, a policeman comes and stands by her, and she says, "Officer, what have I done?" And he says, "Madam, I have to stand somewhere." It's a case of you've got to start somewhere, you know. So I could have started with I don't know, folk, heavy metal, and I don't know, grunge. Yeah. But no, I chose to start with blues, rock, and jazz, and they're things that I mean, I love those genres anyway, you know. And in the songs that I write, I tend to put those things in lots of different albums, as well as a bit of country and a bit of folk and a bit of reggae. And
So the future albums maybe different genres as well? Or?
I don't know. I have to wait and see what I'm going to do, just like everybody else.
Yeah. Well, a couple of years ago, you also did a series of interviews with Guitarist for the BBC.
Yes.
What do you learn from those? What did you learn from those guitarists? Because you play the guitar yourself as well, or wasn't that really in the question?
No, it wasn't really. That's not really what I was doing it for. It was to get people to hear about guitarists and to appreciate the different styles of guitar playing. One of the chaps that I spoke to was Russell, who was in Block Party, and Russell uses lots of effects. But he uses them really, really well. So you can tell with these effects that you're hearing that he's a good player. Because sometimes people hide behind that, and you can kind of hear that actually there's not a lot going on there. But you can tell he's a good player. So you have somebody like that, and then you have somebody like Mark Knopfler, who's a very clean, clear, crisp player. Really, he's probably my favourite guitarist still. But he's a very clean, crisp player. Or you get somebody like John Williams, who's a classical player, so very different again. So it's interesting for people to, you know, hear a guitarist, but just to hear so many different styles from a guitar. Yeah, so that's really what it was what it was about.
Okay. One last question. Still some extensive touring ahead for this year. Is it still as fun as it used to be for you?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about this tour. I'm really looking forward to it. We started in on the 25th, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I mean, the audiences they're different every night. Even if you played the same place for a couple of nights, it's going to be a different audience. And I quite like to talk to the audience, and I like to see what they're going to say back to me. So that's pretty interesting. I like to see how they react to the new songs as well. And so far, they've liked the new songs.
Do you feel a different person when you're on stage?
Kind of.
Is that what makes touring maybe so beautiful?
Yes, it's a funny old experience, because before I go on stage, I'm super nervous, horribly nervous. When I get on stage and once I'm kind of into it, it's quite relaxing. It is quite relaxing.
So still after 40 years, still nervous?
Yeah, that's the drag of that part, but yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, well, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah.